Good evening and welcome to round one of the 1974 USAC Championship, coming to you tonight from the Arizona 150, the Phoenix International Raceway. This is of course the first oval championship that ISO, the International Simracing Organization, organizes. But we've done several oval championships in the past, so hopefully this will be just as great as the previous ones has been. With me in the booth tonight I have Dave Miller. Good evening, Dave.
Good evening, Jonathan. Welcome from the Howler Cluster McLaren M16. Answers to the name of Merlin occasionally. And here we are again at Phoenix for another race, a new season.
We are indeed, and just as I introduced you, we're also joined by Jason White. Good evening, Jason.
Good evening, gentlemen. Welcome to the Valley of the Sun.
The Valley indeed. It's probably going to be a very hot race with many, but at least 2 pit stops for most of our competitors. If we have a quick look at the track map, this is of course the Phoenix International Raceway. It's a 1 mile distorted oval, so technically a tri-oval at 1 mile long, and we'll be going for 150 laps if all goes according to plan. And I thought that we would see if I can get into the software here. There we are. And also find Dave. If we're lucky at all. There you are.
He's exiting turn 4 right now.
Indeed, so across the line towards turn 1. Brake as the track changes colour. Try and keep the car as low down as you can in the groove. Failing a bit there. The car gets very loose on the exit of turn 2 there. In the dog leg, be careful through here. The car wants to break away all the way up to that wall. Braking into turn 3 again, keep the car low. And be careful on the exit through 4. The banking disappears, the car wants to push to that outside wall. Derlo picks in and tries to spin you around. That's a lap of Phoenix, 150 more to go.
That was quite a moment you had coming onto the front straight. We can see David Saber lose it in front of you as well.
Miller is absolutely right. The banking drops away from you as you come off of 4, and if you don't have the car nailed properly, it'll want to push right out to that wall. It's very tricky, and in order to go quickly coming out of 2, you have to take that right rear wheel right up against the guardrail.
That's indeed true.
This is going to be a very busy race, very tricky stuff, and you're quite right about the 2 stops that most people will probably do, because even though you have the fuel capacity to go probably 100 laps or so in these cars, the tires will not last that long. So it's you'll probably see people doing at least 2 stops, I would think.
Yes, and of course, as we've seen previously at this racetrack, it's tricky in more places than at the exit of turn 4, because with it also having a road course, which I don't think is available in this current iteration of the track. You have a change in how the surface works at the exit of turn 2 and at turn 3, the dogleg left-hander as well, which may cause a few drivers issues, considering that's just about where the turbo kicks in for these Offie and a couple of Foyt-powered cars. As we can see, someone lost it on the exit of the final turn and carried into the pit lane.
We've got a massive shunt in the pit lane right now. One of the things that's notable here, unless I'm mistaken, we're missing 2 very key drivers here. Fitch and Austin Johnson have not logged onto the server yet. And they didn't post qualifying times, so if they do show up, they're going to be at the back, but they've got 3 minutes and 30 seconds to get on here.
I know that I saw Austin on earlier, but I haven't seen Jason Fitch yet, but...
Fitch said that he might not be able to make qualifying, but Austin's absence is quite eyebrow-raising, because he was easily one of the quickest cars, so it's... we'll see what happens. It's going to definitely affect the outcome of this race if he's not on the start line.
It certainly will. And it'll possibly open up for even more drivers to have a chance at the win, because Austin is usually very, very quick on in these oval races. But
you might note too, Jonathan, for our viewers, that the All-American Racers Eagle, the factory Eagle, is donning a very unusual front and rear wing for this race alone. Dan Gurney experimenting with different aerofoils.
See, that was... Let's see, which driver is in that? Yates.
David Saber.
Saber. Let's see, where are we? There he is. That certainly looks a little bit different to some of the other drivers and their cars.
Well, the front wing is kind of an evolution of the F5000 wing that Gurney had been making at that point.
I was going to say the rear wing looks like something you'd see on a late 70s Formula 1 car.
Yes. All right, well, I got to get set in my office, but good luck, David, and thank you, Jonathan, for broadcasting. Hope everyone enjoys watching us turn left.
I'm fairly sure everyone will enjoy this. Jason, best of luck to you, and best of luck to Dave as well, of course.
User disconnected from your channel.
You can see here also one of the other bits that will be important is the pit lane. As you can see, the pit boxes are very thin indeed, and it's a very tight fit to try and get in there.
Certainly is, Jonathan. Indeed, on the McLaren, we're running a slightly increased steering angle just to get out of the pit box safely, so that can get very congested during the race.
Certainly, especially if everyone is right on the limit during a yellow, when everyone will come in. It'll be like the old NASCAR days, where we'll have 30 odd cars getting into the pits, and everyone vying for their position, and everyone will be at different angles, and be reversing and all kinds of stuff.
Will certainly be one to watch out for. There may be some merit in trying to work a different strategy to the rest of the field, just to avoid the pit lane traffic jam.
I suppose it would depend on how brave you actually are to try and make that work. As we have the session just finished here, so we will be going into the race in just a few moments. The point system, and I also have a trivia question for you all to for you all to ponder during the race, but we'll wait for the yellows to have a look at those. So, looking at the grid, we'll try to go through them as quickly as we can. We have Adam Hackman on pole position in the number 9. I think that is an Eagle. We have Dana Schurer in second. I believe that's also an eagle. We then have Cesariusz Szlapinski in the Voigt machine, both machine and engine. Then we have Jakob Fredriksson in the Mongoose, the 1971 car, actually doing very well to be fourth with a Voigt engine in the back. We have David Junt in fifth with Mick Chapman sixth, Alberto Ibanez in seventh, and David Saber in eighth, ninth. Okay, looks like we have some kind of slight issue on the server. We will be going to the race session very soon, I'm sure. Probably a little bit of a mistake with the grid of some kind. These are one of those unfortunate niggly little issues that sometimes crop up.
It looks like the restart's to allow Jason Fitch to join.
Okay. And here he comes. Okay, that's good. That's good to see. So he will be racing tonight. It's Jason Fitch. It'll probably be a minute or two, and then we will be racing. As we need to set the grid, which Juha, who is the looks like the race admin here, will sort out. So while we wait, actually, let's have a quick look at the way the points will work for this particular race. I believe, unless I'm mistaken, the points are different dependent on how long the race is. But for this 150-mile race, the winner will score 300 points. Then it'll be 240 for second, 210 for third, 180 for fourth, 150 for fifth, 120 for sixth, 90 for seventh, then 25 points less, 75 for eighth, 60 for ninth, 45 for 10th, 30 for 11th, and 15 for 12th, as the race session is back on. So let's make our way into, oops, there we go, the race session. And we still have, of course, Hackman on pole, Schurer second, Szlapinski third, Jakob Fredriksson fourth, David Junt fifth with Mick Chapman in sixth, seventh for Alberto Ibanez with eighth for David Saber, ninth is Brian Yannick, and rounding out the top 10 is Felipe Enrique for Webster Racing. 11th is Ray Rideau in one of the McLarens. Juha is 12th. I believe that is one of the Eagles. Jukka Martinen is 13th for the Works McLaren entry. Jason White is 14th in the second of the Wells Panelli Racing team cars. 15th for Dave Miller. 16th for Grant Rideau, a bit further down than I would have expected, but I believe he will get up there sooner or later. 17th for Greg Della Cella for Leader Card Racers. 18th is Mike Olsen. 19th is Bruno Chacon. David Yates lines up 20th. He was late to join qualifying, but rest assured his race pace is good. Roljev is 21st, and Jason Fitch rounds out the grid in 22nd. So we're just waiting for the safety car to enter, or pace car to enter pits. And here we are, green flag is out and we are racing. You can see that Felipe Enrique actually missed the restart as we have a yellow flag here. Let's see if we can find out what happened. I assume... oh, it's Grant Riddle. Whatever happened to him? Oh, there were a bit of a stack up and oh, the turbo kicked in for him at an inopportune time. Good job on everyone's part to miss him though. And we unfortunately have our first yellow of the season. As Cesare Slapinski is in the pits as well.
Saw a notification for him to being disqualified. Not quite sure why. Possibly pacing infringement or something along those lines.
That's very strange indeed. As we can see, Adam Hackman actually waiting for the safety car to come around, and there it is. It looks like Dana Schurer is scored as the leader. And Slapinski is indeed scored as a DQ, and Grant Riddle is as a DNF. So Grant feeling that the car would not be repairable, I assume. That's very unfortunate for him. So seeing as we are on the yellow, and I'd assume we have one more lap behind the yellow, let's have a quick look at the trivia question for tonight, which is, who started on pole in the 1974 Phoenix 150? Was it A, Bobby Unser, B, Al Unser, or C, Mike Mosley? I gotta say that I got that trivia question wrong when I was reading through and looking at all the files and stuff. But I hope you've all had a good day today. Been decent for myself. Been, of course, refereeing floorball. What else? But yeah, had a nice day with refereeing some juniors, and always good fun doing so. And actually, while we are waiting, one of the interesting bits for us as such is that Mike Olson, who you see here in the number 89, is that he is actually driving and steering with a mouse. So as far as I understand it, he has pedals for throttle, brake and clutch, but he steers with a mouse. And for doing so, he is very quick indeed, which is very nice to see. So actually have another lap behind the safety car. But hopefully it'll be back in this time around.
That's the green flag next time around notification.
Okay, that's nice. So that's actually 5 laps, I believe, on the yellow flag. So it's a little bit frustrated, a little bit unfortunate, but hopefully we'll have a good green flag run as we come around to restart the race in a few moments' time.
So the drivers will need to still be careful because the tyres will be nowhere near their operating temperature. You need at least 3 laps at full speed to get to that.
So we're back to green flag running, and we can see there that the Acerclinth was under attack from Jakob Fredriksson actually. So here we are on board with the leader, Dana Schurer, as it stands at the moment, with the Mongoose in 2nd place. I believe that was Jason White running just a tad wide in the dogleg left-hander, as Greg Della Cella looked to be wanting to get to the back of the field. It looks like everyone is able to run okay at the moment. Jump on board here with Jason White, currently 14th in the field. You can see a big gaggle of cars up ahead. All vying for positions on this opening green flag run. You can see up ahead a little bit of a wide run for Dave. That's one of the biggest issues in terms of racing around this track. There will be a lot of washout for the cars running behind others. And we can see a big crash, really big crash. Dear me, that's David Junt with a really big one. Was running in 18th, and the car just broke loose on him, and he could do nothing to save the car, unfortunately. And he is understandably retired from the race now. During all of that, it looks like Adam Hackman may have retaken the lead that he had a pole for. Okay, he actually overruns on when they catch the yellow, because like in real life they race to the yellow flag, and someone slowing down earlier than him, he will of course overtake, but they will redress that at an appropriate time.
Just to give an idea of what a difference the fuel mileage running under yellow makes. Currently the McLaren is burning 0.3 of a litre whilst running under yellow, as opposed to nearly 2 litres a lap at full speed.
Wow, that's a big difference. Pardon me as I just play around a little bit. I'll try to get the frames a little bit more consistent for you. Notice they are fluctuating a bit more than I would like. That does not look to have helped, so let's redress that.
Just got the signal from the start marshal that we've got 1 lap to the green.
Okay, that's nice to hear. So it'll be 18 laps in the books as we come across the finish line to restart the race once again. David Yates there going up into 11th to 10th already. So he's making some good progress in this race. As he gets a bit close there to Joa Bols, I think that is in the yellow Eagle. As Juha runs a little bit wide, that's David Yates sneaking up the inside. And he gets by Mick Chapman as well by the looks of things, and is up into 8th. We have a bit of a spin of that. That's Jason Fitch, unfortunately, spinning to the infield. And that brings out our 3rd yellow of the race.
Be interesting to see when the first person blinks and make a pit stop here, Jonathan.
Yeah, it certainly will. The Firestones at least ought to make it to about lap 40. According to what Jason White told me before the race. I'm not sure about the good years, but I'd assume something similar, maybe lap 50, in terms of being drivable to a reasonable limit. But of course, a one-stop would be possible with these yellows, and that stop would probably need to be around the lap 100 mark, which is as long as a fuel tank will take you, I believe.
Indeed, you can quite easily get about 100 laps on a tank. Of course, the other option you could do is get to lap 50 and make your stop then, if that could get you the track position.
Of course. Certainly also an option, and maybe even more stops if you dare trust in the tires lasting. It's generally a question of cat and mouse. And as you say, who blinks first? Nice to hear you're enjoying it, Tim. Hopefully it'll be a good one until the finish. Certainly been quite a good one so far, and hopefully we'll get some longer green flag runs. That's usually when you really get to see the drivers having to work. These cars are nowhere near as easy to drive as the more modern cars that you see today, and even far harder to drive than the 88 cars that was raced last year.
And those 88 cars certainly weren't easy to drive.
But comparatively speaking, these are even harder due to the lack of downforce, I suppose one could say, and possibly a bit more power to work with.
Certainly you have less downforce and significantly more power, I believe. I can't remember the exact figures, but I think some of these engines are pushing 800-900 horsepower as opposed to about the 600-700 the 88 cars have.
Which, to be noted, would be in qualifying trim. In race trim, I reckon it's sort of the same, maybe 50, maximum 100 more than what we would have seen in the 88 championship. But the safety car is heading in, so let's get ready for another green flag run. As the green flag is out, and it looks like Jakob once again is looking for the inside run. Looks like he has secured it, and lo and behold, the 71 Mongoose leads this race. See quite a gaggle of cars here, led by Brian Yannick in 5th, with David Saber, David Yates, Juha Bors, Adam Hackman, Mick Chapman towards the back of that pack, and Dave Miller as well, and Mick Chapman technically, and two more, I believe that's Jason White, and couldn't quite see who the last one was, but that's from 5th to about 14th. That's ought to be Ray Riddle, second last in this line of cars. As David Yates has a bit of a look on David Saber. Two Davids having battle at the moment. 20 late laps. Oh, and a big loose motor for Brian Yannick. Well held from him. When here comes the, both the Davids very hot into 4. Luckily they managed to avoid Brian Yannick's rear end. David Yates having another look. Not quite able to make it up there. Oh, but now he could possibly have a run down the back straight. And we can see how big the washout is. Both David Saber running wide and then David Yates running wide as well. As they try to push the cars to the limit there, possibly beyond. Unfortunately, we have another yellow. David Saber up the inside. Possibly, no, he decides to back out. We can possibly find out. Well, that's Felipe Enrique, unfortunately, with a spin to the infield. See, he has Fitch close behind. Oh, it's where the camber in the track changes due to the road course. That's exactly where he lost it. It looks like, unfortunately, he may have stalled the engine. Sounds like he has indeed. And it looks like he, unfortunately, is out as well. So the attrition already setting in with the Felipe Enrique, David Yates, Grant Ridall and Cesariusz Szlapinski. Our retirees with 31, nearly 32 laps done so far.
I've just heard over my radio Mike Olsen's retired as well, Jonathan.
Oh dearie me, that's unfortunate. Whatever happened to him? We headed into the pits. Let's quickly jump on board here, see if there's any obvious problem with the car. Doesn't look like there were anything obviously wrong with the car. I suppose maybe I don't know if he was feeling a little bit tired and decided that would be better for him to retire early on, but that seems very strange indeed. I was hoping for him to do well as well. I suppose I, as the commentator, should never wish anyone too much luck in the race and hope for them, because that's when it all goes wrong. Sorry, Mike. My apologies, just taking the opportunity to have a quick sip of water. But let's have a quick look at what's coming up in the near future here at ISO. Where we have this coming Wednesday, the first and second rounds of the 1997 Australian Super Touring Championship. those two races, I should say, takes place at Lakeside International Raceway. A short, quick blast in Queensland, just outside Brisbane in Eastern Australia. Lap times around 53 to 54 seconds. The very, very quickest ones in qualifying will be in the 52s. And it'll be a very close championship, I believe. There are cars available for that, so if you would like an entry-level series to get to grips with ISO racing, this is probably as good as it gets this spring season. And in, I believe that's 2 weeks time, we have the second round of the 1991 Formula 1 Championship Grande Premio do Brasil on Sunday, January 26th, with green light at 2000 CT, and that will once again be broadcast by our good friend Jason White, who's currently sitting in 13th in this race, and I believe his pundit or color commentator, whichever way you would like to put it, will be Alberto Ibanez, who himself is sitting, if we have any luck with the automated lineup, here we are, is currently sitting in 5th in this race.
Well, certainly the real race in 91 was an absolute corker, so hopefully ours can live up to that.
That's certainly what we can hope for. I have to admit I'm too young to have watched that live, but I will believe you if you say it was a stonker. So we have the green flag out, and we are back to racing with Fredriksson first, Schurer second, Martin in third in the McLaren, Ibanez fourth now, Yannick fifth. And David Saber making a bit of a move. No, sorry, that's it's David Yates making a move. I believe it's now up to 6th place. If only just, because there goes David Saber, but I believe Yates will have the run coming off the corner. He does, and looks like he has secured 6th for himself, whereas he runs a little bit wide though. Looks like he's been able to hold on from Saber though, and now he will set his sights on Brian Yannick. You can hear how careful they have to be coming into the corners here. Yates attacks 4 very hard indeed, but gets the car stopped and turned very nicely. Trying for a run up the inside of Yannick on the exit, but can't quite make it. Across the finish line, finish 40 laps of this race. When there's a yellow flag, I'll let him know where he can catch this broadcast. My apologies for that. thought I had inactivated the Steam overlay. That's a bit of a mistake from David Yates, but no capitalization for all other drivers. And we can see here Jakob Fröksen running away with the lead at the moment. And although that Mongoose is older, it has quite nice handling, and Jakob, of course, won the R-Factor version of the Kart 88 Championship 2 years ago, so he is a fairly quick driver, so there's nothing wrong in that. It's just that the Mongoose, I thought, wouldn't be quite so quick in the race.
A track like this really does put a premium on handling.
It certainly does. There we go. I just let Ole Marius, who was the friend of mine that wanted to watch the stream, know where he can catch this one. And so I just have a quick look through the field. Looks like Greg Della Cella is the final runner at the moment, doing a good job, sitting about 10 to 11 seconds behind the nearest car in front, and there we can see Jakob Fröksen behind him closing in. Nice. It's really nice to see Greg out there, and with a bit of luck for himself, he could very well score points in this event. You see, he now receives the yellow flags. Jason Fish in 16th, Rune Chacon in 15th, Raoul Jereb in 14th at the moment, with Mick Chapman in 13th, Jason White 12th, and just running to survive for the opening few laps, as far as I'm aware, is his tactics. Ray Riddle in 11th, with Adam Hackman 10th, Juha Boos 9th, and Dave Miller currently sitting in 8th in one of the older McLarens. I think that is the Al Locuosto entry. David Saber for All American Races in 7th. David Yates for Dick Simon Racing, sitting nicely, and looks like he's fairly happy to be there in 6th place at the moment, just keeping a watching brief on the drivers in front. 5th for Brian Yannick. For Robert L. Fletcher, Alberto Ibanez 4th for Vels Panelli, Jukka Martinen for Team McLaren 3rd, Dana Schurer for Roger Penske Racing, one of the McLarens second, and Jakob Fröksen, of course, still in the lead. Can hear here riding on board with David Yates for just a few laps. USAC has a bit of a run on Ryan Yannick possibly. Okay, never mind that. He still is happy to sit here. It's not as easy as just turning left and keep the throttle on, especially in these cars. It's very much work the throttle, try to get the power transition nicely despite the massive. As we can see how loose he gets coming out of 4 there. Despite how massive the turbochargers are on these cars. And the power delivery that they provide.
It's easy to see why dirt track sprint cars were such a popular training ground for these drivers.
Very much so. And also with it being lap 60, the tyre wear will have kicked in as well. And as you say, the sprint cars will be the training ground for many of these real-life drivers that race these cars. And as far as I'm aware with those cars, it's simply no downforce whatsoever, so we have someone in the pits. We'll see if it's possibly one on the lead lap. It's actually Greg Dallacella in the pits, and we can see here the trouble in the pit lane. 2 retired cars, and he has the pit stall in between them. Hopefully he'll be able to get out without too many issues. As he has to reverse a little bit to try to get the car out. Looks like he will, but he loses quite a bit of time trying to get out of that pit stall. We're currently enjoying a 4-second lead over Dana is Jakob Fröksen. Actually fluctuating between just under 4 to 5, so I assume that's about a 4.3 second lead that he has. As he closes in on Greg Dallacella once again. There goes Jakob up the inside. Nice and easy. No problems posed by Greg, getting out of the way very nicely. I suppose now the race really begins for the leading cars as well, with traffic coming into play. And it's nice that we've had this kind of long green flag run as well now. I believe this is around 30 laps of a green flag next time by. As we mentioned, very close to the pit windows opening for most of the competitors.
We've got our first corner for the pits. I've just seen someone dive for it ahead.
See if we can find. That's Brian Yannick into the pits on lap 67. And this will be the danger time for him until everyone has pitted, because with that pit stop, he is now a lap behind the leader. With new cold tires as well, he will need to get up to the temperature very quickly here. Looks like he's come out in a bit of clean air behind him, so that has worked out very well for Brian. The racer from Detroit. Yes, just as we jump on board here with Raoul Jareb, he has a bit of a scraping with the wall, but hopefully there's no damage done as he tries to chase down Mick Chapman and Jason White up ahead.
I expect there's a lot of drivers right now doing yellow flag dances.
Very possible indeed. I reckon no one wants to pit on the on the green flag if they can avoid it. Brian Yannick is so far the one who has had to do so, but can't be too many laps before everyone will be filing in one after another. Here comes Jason White among those next to pit. Looks like there are a couple more in the pit lane. That's actually Brian Yannick trying to unlap himself, as he is on far fresher tires, and that offers more lap speed than low fuel and old tires. But the problem, especially around this tight 1 mile oval, is to try and get past traffic. And we have the yellow flag that everyone has been hoping for. And it looks like that is that Jason Fitch, possibly? It is indeed, as everyone tries to avoid him coming onto the start-finish straight. And we can see that everyone filing into the pits. We have Dana Schurrer, Jukka Matanen for the pits. I'd assume David Yates will be pitting here as well. He does indeed.
Very timely there, I had 4 laps of fuel left.
So Alberto Ibanez was into the pits, David Saber, Juha Boos, Dave Miller of course is. he made known. And Jason White, unfortunately, who just pitted on the under the green flag, is now 1 lap behind. We can see now Jakob Ferguson on his way to the pits as well, by the looks of things, running on the apron. But seeing as we've got the yellow out, we will have a quick word from an advertisement run, and then when we come back we'll hopefully be very close to green flag racing once again.
I'm George Montgomery. This is my game room. The furniture you see, I made. You know, I used to shine it with paste wax, but now I use new Pledge. Pledge now has key ingredients found in Johnson paste wax to give rubbed-in paste wax beauty instantly. Doesn't that wood grain look great? Now, if that isn't paste wax beauty, I'm not George Montgomery. Remember, now you get the rubbed-in beauty of paste wax instantly every time you dust with new Pledge.
Fred, I told you, you dance the merengue all night, you get a headache.
Oh.
You eat 5 enchiladas with chili sauce, you get a heartburn. I'll give you some Alka-Seltzer.
When you have upset stomach with headache or body aches and pains, Alka-Seltzer has antacids and specially buffered aspirin for quick relief.
The Alka-Seltzer worked.
Good. We've got another party tonight.
Oh.
Look up, America, see what we've got. Let in the sunny side of living. Look for the best, yeah, live life refreshed. Look for the real thing. Right from the car.
No country's got more good things than we've got, including the world's best drink to help us enjoy them all. So have a Coke and start looking up.
It's the real thing. It's the real thing.
The Wishbone Backyard Barbecue. For people who like good food, good friends, and good fun. For them, Wishbone Italian dressing. It takes a very special blend to make a dressing with real Italian flavor. And that blending secret made Wishbone Italian America's favorite salad dressing. Wishbone Italian. For people who really like salads.
Forget.
Let's see, we are, I'd assume, 1, possibly 2 laps away from green flag running here. So we can see the field streaming past with Jason White leading them. And Adam Hackman leading the field overall. So we can see Jakob Ferguson lost out quite a bit, dropping to 6th from the lead with his later pit entry. And it looks like we have 1 more lap here.
Seems something a bit strange going on with the safety car. I'm not sure if they did wave rounds in the 70s. But the safety car's not picked up the leader of the race.
It did pick up the leader of the race when the safety car came out, but then the leader pitted, so I think that's why it's a bit jumbled up behind the safety car itself.
That's going to throw a spanner in the works for quite a few people, including myself, as because of that we will probably now lose back to the leader.
Oh, so you're stuck in that gaggle of cars as well then?
Certainly am, but adapt and overcome. Let's see what we can make of this.
Yep, as the green flag is about to fly, and we are back to racing here at Phoenix. Oh, as Juha Boos has a big moment on the start-finish straight. Oh, he's lost all his wings. Hopefully he'll be able to hold on. And we'll hopefully avoid another yellow flag, although that'll cost Juha quite a lot, as Jakob Frexen just made a pass on Ray Riddle. As we can see here, battles all around. As we have Adam Hackman being passed by Jukka Martinen for second overall. Up in front of the leaders, that's well for 12th, 13th, 11th and 10th. As David Yates also gets past Adam Hackman. We can see Jakob Frexen in the mirror sneaking up the inside. And going past there. We can also see that interesting mirror setup only used from this onboard view, with a very high outside mirror. Looks like Dana Sure has put a lap on a couple of those cars that was... no, that's Dana Sure, just ahead of Martinen, as David Yates now looks up the inside of the McLaren driver. But Martinen just about holds on. But Yates still up the inside. Martinen still trying to hold on, running the outside line through 1 and 2. Then through 3, Yates up the inside yet again. Martinen finally concedes the position, and David Yates is up into second place. Some great fighting here for the top spots overall. Dana Sure got balked onto the start-finish straight. David Yates is up the inside. Dana trying to run around outside here. I don't think that'll work. David Yates now up into the lead. You can see up ahead here that there is a bit of a battle to try and stay on the lead lap. As David Saber now Dave Miller runs a little bit wide and allows David Yates up the inside, and Dave Miller's put a lap down. Very soon here it looks like Jason White will unfortunately be put 2 laps down. So Jason was hoping for a good finish, but it'll be a long run from here. Unfortunately he has been feeling a little bit ill and been sick off and on for a week or so, so that could be one of the reasons. He is a little bit off color, but at least he is happy with the setup as far as I'm aware. We can see here a little bit further back. It's actually a battle on for 7th, 8th and 9th between Bruno Chacon, Nick Chapman and Raoul Yereb. Here that Bruno is running the car with the grunt of the engine, running slightly lower revs than what we've heard on the recent onboards. As we have another yellow. Let's see if we can possibly find out. Oh dear me, looks like Juha Bols may have brought that out, I wonder. If that could be the case. It is indeed. He had a spin coming off of 1 and 2. Oh, and very fortunate that everyone was able to miss him. Dave Miller got very close there. That must have been quite a fright.
Still puckering as we speak, Jonathan.
That's very understandable indeed. As we can see, Adam Hackman actually taking the opportunity to head into the pits for a quick splash and a set of new tires, possibly hoping to run to the end from here. Don't put it past him trying that. As he is the last runner currently on the lead lap. So while this costs him track position at this very moment, it could of course come back and give him an advantage when the rest of the field heads for the pit lane. As I assume that Dave Miller has decided to head for the pits, as has David Saber during this prolonged yellow.
Certainly did, Jonathan. Get out of the traffic and get a fresh set of tyres to take us to the end.
Sounds like a decent plan with 1/3 of the race to go, 99 laps in the bank. As the safety car is now heading in, we are heading for the green flag, and it is out, and we are back racing. And we unfortunately have a yellow straight away. Presumably it was a moment on the start-finish straight then.
Saw a blue car spinning across the line.
Oh dear, quite a big hit with the outside barrier for Jason Fitch. So as we can see, these cars are very tricky to drive indeed. Far from easy. Especially with the power delivery of these cars being very sudden and aggressive. I'm happy to see that we still have 17 runners left in this race. If I remember correctly, when we did the 73 series, which were, if possible, slightly harder to drive still than these cars, we had, I believe, 11 or 13 finishers at the end of the race. Of course, much can still happen, but to have 17 runners still going around the track is a very encouraging sign indeed. And there's been some really good racing so far, and with 1/3 left, this is where the business end is, so we'll probably see some hard racing coming here for the last 47 laps. That's an interesting conversation we're having about leather-covered Simracing wheels. That is, of course, one of the best materials for our sim racers to use, but not sure if that's real or fake leather on my own wheel, and I reckon it's probably some kind of some half material, like fake leather or something on the wheel.
Got me scratching mine now, Jonathan.
Maybe you could convince Angel to fix you up a new cover for your wheel.
Well, as wonderful product as the G29 is, it certainly isn't can't be considered luxury.
It's probably one of the best budget range of wheels you can pick up. I'm still running a trusty G27. I think it's knocking on 10 or 11 years old now, and it still more or less functions perfectly.
Certainly, as sim racing wheels go, a Logitech is pretty much all you'll ever need. Anything beyond that is just luxury.
That's very much true. But of course, anyone looking for an edge will of course go up further and get like a Thrustmaster or something like that, which packs a bit more punch compared to the Logitech.
Certainly possible, but ultimately there's no replacement for talent.
For sure there isn't.
And certainly I believe we've seen in the past, with these kind of cars particularly, people doing very well even with Xbox pads and other interesting methods.
Well, looks like we are back to racing here, so green flag is out and a bit of wheel spin for David Yates, but he holds on to his lead for now. Dana Schurer second, Martin on third, Ferguson fourth. And a little bit further back in the pack is Brian Yannick in fifth at the moment. Roberto close behind him in sixth. And a position or two further back in the line is Ray Riddle. See here already David Yates trying to open up a little bit of a gap to the other drivers as they come streaming through the third turn of this 1 mile oval. And that's 17 cars in very quick succession indeed. There we go. As we unfortunately have another yellow, let's see. Oh dear me, that looks like it's Raul Jereb who had a bit of a spin. He is sitting behind Mick Chapman, who has just a bit of an unfortunate moment right at the... Oh, Jason Fitch just about avoids Raul's car. Raul just where the camber changes once again coming out of two. Got a bit too much power from the engine, and that's unfortunately all she wrote. And he's around. Brian Yannick into the pits. He just about managed to nip in there. So he could be in a box seat now to take over the lead of this race. If the drivers decide to pit, we are 40 laps exactly away from the finish of the race. As we cross the finish line now. And that is bang on what Jason White, of course, mentioned that the tires would probably do at a racing pace.
Well, I can't speak for the other drivers ahead. Certainly if I was in their position on the lead lap, I'd definitely be wanting to pit, I think.
It's certainly a case of, do you dare try to stay out and get track position as everyone else pits, or do you actually go in and pick up fresh tires? Because from that last pit stop on lap 67 to 80, I think most drivers pitted, you could make it to the end of the race from there. The question is if you can make the tires last. It looks like everyone is deciding to stay out. And I think it'll be about a 35 lap dash to the flag when we do go back to green flag running. Let's quickly run through the field as it stands before we get to the pit stops and stuff going on. So David Yates leads this race. He's been leading since I reckon around lap 90. Dana Schurer lines up second. Jukka Matonen is sitting in third at the moment. Jakob Ferguson is in fourth in the Mongoose. Alberto Ibanez is in fifth with David Saber in sixth. Ray Riddle in 7th with Adam Hackman 8th, 9th for Bruno Chacon and 10th for Mick Chapman. Raoul Jareb is in 11th and Brian Yannick is in 12th and rounds out the cars on the leading lap. Dave Miller is first off the lead lap in 13th. Jason White is 14th, I believe 2 laps down. Jason Fitch is 15th, 2 laps off the leaders. Greg Della Cella is in 16th, 4 laps off the leaders, and last running at the moment is Juha Boos in 17th, 7 laps off the leading pace.
There's the one to go signal.
That's nice to hear. So we will be back racing with 35 laps to the end of the race. So let's see what happens here as the green flag is about to fly once again. As the green flag is out, we are back to racing, and it looks like Dana Schurer is trying to hold on. Matonen going around outside actually. Trying to take second away from Dana. It looks like Dana holds on for now. We have the top 6 running line astern here, and here comes Jakob Ferguson sneaking up the inside of Jukka Matonen. See if he can possibly make that work. Looks like Martin had a run off the final turn. And now Alberto Ibanez trying to have a bit of a look up the inside there. We can see immediately here David Yates opens up a little bit of a gap to the rest of the runners, as it did look like Jakob Fuchsen had a bit of a run, but Alberto Ibanez looks up the inside of him instead for Vel Spanelli Racing, and Fredriksson with a great run off of turn 2 and retains 4th for now. Although he is wide once again, and here comes Alberto up the inside. When both of them searching for the same piece of track towards the exit of 4. We have another yellow, unfortunately, but we'll be racing to the start-finish line, so let's see what happens here, whether Alberto can take position. Doesn't look like he will, unless there's a bit of a mistake from Jakob, but he takes a very tight entry there, and it looks like he will hold on. And it looks like Ray Riddall, unfortunately, is the driver who has brought out the yellow.
Lost it coming out of turn 4, I believe.
Yep, looks like the car just slightly got away from him as he tried to squeeze the power on. Very easy to have that happen. And unfortunately that'll be a lengthy repair job for his Valmotor crew. And let's see if anyone of the leading cars decide to pit this time around. Looks like none of them will actually decide to do so, which I find rather interesting. I would have expected one or two of them to pit that time around, but they may just be trying to get to the end. But with a few more yellow laps to run, let's have a quick word from a advertisement run, and we'll see you on the other side, hopefully right ahead of the green flag being dropped once again.
To get the most mileage from a new set of tires, you'd treat them right from the start. We didn't do that. First, we ran a set of Sears steel-belted radials on the toughest back roads in Morocco. Then we put them on American roads. 72,400 miles later, they're still going strong. The Sears steel-belted radial, it can take a lot and still go a long, long way. Radial design, 2 steel belts. The Sears steel-belted radial, only at Sears.
Now comes Miller time. Suddenly, you're the 3 best sailors on the water. And that calls for a round of the best-tasting beer you can find. Miller High Life, America's quality beer since 1855.
If you've got the time, we've got the beer. Miller Beer.
Sometimes your future may be captured in a single moment, in the present.
We're helping 40 million people, more than 40 million people, who know the future is now. At Metropolitan Life, we help to plan the future.
At Metropolitan Life, we've spent over a century helping people prepare for the future. Metropolitan Life, where the future is now.
The colors in the XL100 are really alive.
These TV cameramen rate RCA XL100 solid-state color TVs.
I like the realistic color on the RCA XL100, like the blue of the Dodger baseball caps against a green background.
The color on the RCA XL100 really jumps out at you. More senior TV cameramen own RCA than any other color TV.
The color in the XL100 makes you feel like you're right down here on the field.
RCA XL100. Don't settle for less.
We are just in time. Back for the green flag, having just dropped here, and David Yates retains his lead. Jakob Fryksen is battling for second with Dana Schurrer. Looks like he may not be able to hold on to it unless he runs around outside in 4. Not able to make that work though. But he goes up the inside at 1 instead. Let's see if he gets the run coming out of 2. Oh, he does, but he gets a bit too much power on, gets a big loose moment. Oh, and he has another one. Even not the tires being up to temperature just yet. As he is now having to defend from Jukka Matanen and the McLaren. And Matanen takes the position away, so Jakob Fryksen drops to 4th. Oh, when David Saber is loose, David Saber is spinning. Oh, he hits the outside barrier quite hard there. There he is. So we have another yellow about to come out, but as we can see here, was just a tad bit too wide. Span round, got help from the barriers, but it looked like a very close call between him and Juha Boos, but looks like they both managed to survive that. But unfortunately, everyone is getting a bit antsy to get this show on the road and finish this race, and a few mistakes creeping in for everyone, it looks like. Oh, that's very true, Richard. USAC in yellow certainly goes hand in hand, but good thing Jason has provided us with a few ad breaks to go along with the race. But unfortunately, with all these yellows, it looks like almost everyone will run one stop. Or possibly 2 stops in this race. I think we've had 1 stop so far for most of our runners. And unless something major happens here, it looks like everyone will be able to make it with 20 laps to go in a couple of laps' time.
I think one to watch on the restart's going to be Brian Yannick, currently running 7th, Jonathan. Fresh tyres, and he's looking quite quick from where I'm sat.
He is indeed in 7th. He pitted not that long ago. So depending on how the restarts go for him, that's certainly one to watch. And he is, I believe, the best placed on the lead lap, not in behind lapped cars. So he is definitely in the box seat for a good finish to this race, as long as he keeps the car pointing in the right direction and everything falls the way he would like and hope. And of course Brian has proved to be a very competent racer, so I wouldn't put it past him to be able to put on some good moves during these last few laps. But I reckon that unless David Yates runs into trouble, he'll be very difficult to beat from this point onwards. You see that towards the back of the pack actually. Ray Riddle has decided to run without a front wing to try and finish the race and not drop out of the points, because he currently sits in 12th, which is the last points paying position, which I suppose is the only reason why he would still be running. With a damaged car, of course. Because I can't believe that car would be any nice to drive without a front wing, and possibly with a bit of suspension damage as well.
Certainly, even with a damaged car, it's going to be difficult for myself, the car behind, to catch up a whole lap in the time left.
Well, there's still a few laps to go, so anything can still happen. Which we've seen already with the unfortunate retirement before the race even began for Cesariusz Lapinski, and early retirements for a few of our drivers that I thought would have a good chance in this event. And of course David Yates started more or less from the back of the pack in 20th, I believe, not having set a time in qualifying, but now leading the race with 28 to go. As we are coming around for a green flag run, let's see if we can get a green flag to the end of the race, as Brian Yannick gets a good jump off the restart, but Adam Hackman had an even better one, goes around outside of both Ibanez and Martanen, and it looks like he also gets past Schurer, when Martanen with a big loose moment, he is able to hold on to it. Nicely held, Jukka. That was a really close call. As Ibanez has a bit of a moment up ahead. That's Ibanez Senior, of course. And Hackman now in third, Fredriksson second, Yates in first. Let's see what Fredriksson and Hackman can do about Yates in the lead. And of course also what Brian Yannick can do from his 6th place at the moment with 25 odd laps to go. Make that 15 odd laps to go. Ibanez runs a little bit wide there. Could be Brian's opportunity. Not quite able to get a run there though. When the arrow wash really catching Brian out there. Has to reposition for the corner to actually make it on the exit. A bit of a scrape with the wall there. I think Alberto may have done the same. It looks like the only one who could possibly challenge David Yates for the win here is Jakob Fredriksson. Although of course he is running the Voigt engine, which I believe is slightly less powerful than the engine in David Yates' car, which is an Offie. But we can see that 26.7 for Jakob that time around, just under a 10th of his best lap in the race. really trying here to try and make it count as we are nearing the end of the race. 12 laps to go as we cross the finish line. A little bit of lap traffic. That's Ray Riddle without his front wing, trying to stay out of the way and not cause too much trouble. I now notice as well that Dave Miller is up into 12th position and the last points paying position, as Ray Riddle, unfortunately for himself, has dropped in behind. Let's see, it looks like Jacob is just a tad bit closer to David here, though I could be wrong. But we are 9 laps from the finish and everything is still out there to play for. Looks like from how the times are fluctuating that David Yates is... Oh dear me. Oh, David Sabre is actually off the track as well. Dear me, that's really unfortunate. He was sitting in 10th position at the time. Let's see, the car just breaks loose on him. It tries to spin her around and unfortunately ends up outside of the track, and that's unfortunately a late retirement for him, and that will also drop him out of the points. So that's very, very unfortunate indeed for David. He was having a very good race going, staying nice and consistent, but the tiniest of slip-ups in this kind of racing, and you have to pay very dearly for that, and that also brings Ray Riddle back up into the points at the same time. And that could also mean that Ferguson and Hackman and Ibanez and Yannick and Matanen and Schurer and Chapman could have a last-ditch effort at taking the win away from David Yates. I reckon we will have a white-green or 2 laps to finish green to finish off this race. Nice to see you, Peter. I hope you're doing very well indeed. That sounds very good, Peter. Really great to read that that's the case. It looks like we will possibly have, as I thought, either 2 laps left green flag or a green white to finish off this race, and that restart will be crucial for all the top positioned drivers. As I mentioned, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cars in a line here. And I reckon any one of them could still take the win here, if they have a little bit of luck on their side. It looks like we'll have green flag, so we have a green white as the start goes here. Let's see what Jacob and the rest can do. Oh no, we have a spinner. Brian Yannick is off. A Mahusiv off for him, right up into the barriers. Looks like we're staying green to the finish though. So what will happen here? Will Jacob be able to get the run off the last corner and take the win? Doesn't look like it. Looks like David Yates will take the win here. Does indeed. So the win goes to David Yates at a race time 1:39:20.872 at an average speed of 91.1 miles an hour. So congratulations to David Yates, starting 20th for this race and finishing first. A very good consistent drive from him. And we have Jakob Fröksen in the Mongoose finishing second. That's an awesome effort from himself. Alberto Ibanez looks to have finished in third, with Martin fourth, Dana Schurer fifth, Hackman in sixth, seventh for Mick Chapman, eighth for Raul Jereb. Bruno Chacon finishes ninth with Brian Yannick, despite his last lap off in 10th. Dave Miller finishes 11th, and last points per position in 12th goes to Ray Riddle, despite not having his front wing on, as we can see in the background. David Yates doing some proper donuts to celebrate that victory. That's a very impressive drive. 13th for Jason White, so just off the points paying position for him. Jason Fetch finishes 14th. Greg Dalacella 15th, Juha Boss 16th, and David Saber was the first of our retirees, with the rest of them being Mike Olsen, Felipe Enrique, David Junt, Grant Riddle, and Cesarius Schlapinski. But again, big congratulations to David Yates, who put on a clinical drive and takes the win here tonight.
User joined your channel. User joined your channel.
As I noticed, we are joined by a few of the drivers that partook in this race. Let's see if I just get everything working the way I'd like it to. Not going too well here. Oh, there we are. We are joined by Alberto Ibanez and Juha Boss. So Alberto first, finished third in this race. Looked like a fairly quiet race for you, but a good finish in the end.
I wasn't really expecting that. I was hoping just to finish the race and bag some points because I didn't really feel like in the pace. Many things are new now. We got the new turbo effects, the aero effects, and I was just trying to be cautious because I know there was going to be big attrition. But it seems that for whatever reason I had good advantage in the restarts. I could time it properly. Maybe it's my practice. I don't know. But in the restarts I gained many positions and well, I was able to be there at the end. And I'm sorry for Adam because I stole his wallet in the last lap in the restart. Yeah, no kidding. I mean, he was incredibly fast all the sessions. He qualified way better than me, but well, this is what happens when you got so many yellows. And the real difficulty for me was that when I pit, I mean, it was like I was waiting for that to happen, to pit and never look back again. And yeah, I did pit, only I missed that I should have gone the full lap around before pitting. So I was actually down to 10th position when I came out of the pits instead of the top 5 I was in. So I had to play a bit of a game of patience and wait until everything cleared up, and so we did. Yeah, and I was really lucky, but I ended the race with something like 80 liters in my tank. The car was so heavy that I wasn't really going to be dicey or attempt anything. And the Firestone tires, they are really bad towards the end of the stint, so that was another concern too. Anyways, I'd like to congratulate David Jacks, who came from last to finish to win. That was absolutely amazing. And Jakob Fredriksson, who didn't, well, I mean, hats off to Jakob because that race with the Mongoose, it's amazing. I mean, the differences between cars in this mode are not so much, not that hard. And especially here in these short tracks, driving counts a lot and setup work. And not so much as in the super speedways, but what Jakob did with that Mongoose was really amazing. So congrats to all finishers, and sorry for those who crashed or couldn't score points. I see many people forgot the race to the flag rules, and I also was a victim of that in some of the first restarts, but I hope that with some more races everything will be toned up. And also stay tuned because the next race is Ontario, and while these cars are really hard to drive here in these short tracks, it's so much better at the speedways where they were designed for. Speedways like Indianapolis and Ontario, and well, you don't have that many traction problems, and it's again quite good old fun with the slipstream.
Yeah, I can imagine. I'm really looking forward to that now because this race was quite fun to watch indeed. And some really good battles as well, so definitely going to be a good one at Ontario. We're also joined by Juha Boos, who you had a good race going there, but a bit of an unfortunate incident put you back quite a bit in the field.
Yeah, I was not far behind Alberto, and then a certain Mr. Miller gave me a bit of a nudge. Cost me my rear wing, 6 laps, and that was it. But didn't get any further than that. Well, bad. At least I finished, which is better than I thought.
That's very much true, and I'd assume you're, I believe you're in the McLaren, right? Will probably be, if not as quick, maybe even quicker at Ontario, where the track can stretches.
I'm in an Eagle. So
Oh, sorry.
I'm in one of the older Eagles. So.
Oh, my.
It's a yellow car also, but not this time the McLaren.
Ah,
not the probable.
That's what I got wrong. But you still have the Offie engine in that Eagle, and
yeah, so it should be good. Forward to it.
That sounds good. I reckon before we finish off the broadcast here, let's have a quick look at the trivia once again, the question and then the answers. Or answer. So the question was, who started on the pole in the 1974 Phoenix 150? Was it A, Bobby Unser, B, his brother Al Unser, or C, Mike Mosley? Does either of you have any guesses on which one that could be?
Well, I'd take a punt at Bobby Unser.
I'll go with that as well.
That's the same answer I gave, and unfortunately I was wrong on that, but the correct answer is actually Al Unser, so the brother of Bobby took the pole for this race back in 1974.
Yay, my car. Okay, I have to leave you now, have to do some housekeeping, but we'll keep in touch and looking forward to see everybody in Brazil in 2 weeks. And I'll be in the broadcast booth.
Yep, that
Bye.
sounds good. Take care, mate.
User disconnected from your channel.
And both Angel and Berlin is correct, so congratulations on getting the trivia question right. So quickly, before we also finish off, this coming Wednesday we have the first and second rounds of the 1997 Australian Super Touring Car Championship. And practice opens at 2000 CET. The races will start at 2100 CET. There are a few cars left for that Lakeside International Raceway double header. Hopefully we'll see a few of you who have watched possibly sign up for this. This is a great entry level for ISO. And on 26th of January in 2 weeks time, the second round of the 1991 Formula 1 Championship, the Grande Prêmio do Brasil, will take place with green light for the broadcast and the race, of course, at 2000 CET. But with that, any final thoughts, Dave, before we finish off?
No, I don't think there's much I can really add, so it'll be until next time from me.
Okie dokie. Well, thank you very much, Dave, for joining me for this one, and I hope all of us are looking forward to the upcoming races, the F1 race, and hopefully I'll be able to put together some kind of highlights package for the Australian Super Touring Championship, time allowing, of course. But until the 26th of January, have a great time, take care, and see you then.